Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be talking about adding insulation to your garage door and the things you need to check before you do this. Because if you don't, it could cause you a catastrophic failure of your garage door open. And you're saying, what could possibly happen by me just adding some insulation panels to my garage? Let's talk about that right now. And what I'm talking about is up here. In this particular garage door situation, you have a counter spring mounted above. And so each garage is a little bit differently. But bottom line is, what this spring does is as it counterweights the garage door's weight. And so if your garage door is, let's say, 170, 180 pounds, that spring is set to counterweight it so that as you lift the garage door up to halfway, it'll stay there. That's a good way to tell if your springs are properly adjusted. You lift the garage door up to the halfway point and it should stay there without any issues. When one of these garage door springs, the garage door will come down suddenly and you won't be able to lift it. It'll be very heavy because you lost half of your counterweight. Now, what has been happening and people have been reporting, and why I'm talking about this is that many times during a home's growth, the garage door will be replaced. And maybe when the garage door is replaced, the garage door is heavier than the original garage door. No big deal, right? But the counter springs were not replaced to match the door. So let's say the door originally was 140 pounds, and you replace it with a 180-pound garage door, and you tension the garage door, and so it perfectly balances out. But that spring is being pushed beyond its normal capacity. Now, you go in and you add weight, which is going to be your insulation, whether it be this type or panels or whatever it is, and that's fine. So let's say that the total weight of your insulation adds another 20 pounds. Now, what's got to happen is you're going to need to add tension to these springs or replace the springs, depending upon the situation. So let's say that that you weigh the door and the garage door weighs 200 pounds. And now with the insulation, it weighs 220. Well, you got to come up here and look at the garage door end here. And every garage door spring has a color code, and it will tell you its weight range. And you need to check that. Because let's say that this spring was rated in 170 pounds, and you've got a 200-pound door, and you add 20 pounds of insulation. Now you're overtaxing the springs to the point of failure. And you tension it, and you lift it up, yes, back and forth. It works fine, it's counterweighted. Sometime in the near future, that counter spring is going to snap because it's overused. All springs fail over time because they're just normally used. But here you've made a dangerous situation. And that's really what we're talking about here. So if you're going to be doing any garage work on your garage door by adding insulation like that, first thing you need to do is lift the door up and make sure that it is counterweighted properly, that it stays in the air before you even get started. The next thing you need to do is release the springs and weigh. How much does the garage door weigh? And you can do that by using your bathroom scale. You lift the door flat, you put it on there, and you'll see the total weight of the door. And so if you weigh it and it was 200 pounds, and now it's 220 after adding the insulation. You go up here to the spring, and you make sure that that spring is rated for 220. If that spring is rated, let's say, for 180, this spring has to be replaced and updated. If you don't, you're looking at it for a catastrophic failure. And I cannot tell you, I worked in the emergency room for some years, and you don't know how many times we've had workmen come in who weren't paying attention, who hurt themselves, who had a crush injury, who lost a finger because of something like this. You go in and you start adjusting the tension, the spring suddenly snaps, and suddenly you have a crush injury. Or what can happen is the garage door will be opening or closing, the spring will break, and the door will slam down and crush somebody. I'm not kidding you. Unfortunately, I've seen too many tragedies to that. The other thing you need to do before you do any work on a garage door, in fact, should be part of your maintenance. Look over here, you've got various joints which need to be lubricated on a periodic basis, and there is lubricant daily designed for garage door springs. But this one is one of the most critical. And that's the one up here, and you can see there's a cable coming off that pulley that is being used to lift the door. Now that cable will fail over time. And you need to check periodically when you're doing your lubricant maintenance that that cable is not fraying. If that cable begins to fray, you need to replace it before it fails. Because again, the same thing, if it snaps, you're going to lose half of your counterweight and your garage door is going to come slamming down and possibly hurt someone, or it can cause the garage door opening to break or snap. So now, not only could you replace that cable for $20, you're now going to have to spend hundreds of dollars to have your garage door open and replaced. I hope this information helps for you. Please put it in the comments. Was it helpful for you? Did it give you some knowledge of understanding of garage door openers? And the same thing if you're having a problem with your garage door opener, the garage door comes up halfway and goes back down and like that. Check your springs to see if they're broken or disformed. That will tell you that. Anyway, until next time, check out my other videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out our merch store and become a Patreon and become a member of Grandpa Casey. Until next time, you have a marvelous day.